Hello, third graders. Today we're going to look at Chapter 4, which is titled Nature and Changing Ecosystems in Habitats and Change. The big question for this chapter, how do natural changes to an environment affect the organisms that live there? So that is the focus for the chapter. Habitats are the places where organisms live. The living things in a place interact, which means they affect each other. The place itself also affects the living things. An ecosystem is all of the living and non-living things in a certain place and their interactions. That's one of the vocab words. Sometimes an ecosystem changes. This change can happen fast. It can also happen very slowly. When a change happens, some living things may have trouble getting what they need. Some organisms will survive the change well. Some will have to work harder to meet their needs. Others will leave or even die. This bird gets shelter and finds food from trees in an ecosystem. What might happen to the bird if a change kills all the trees in the forest? Natural events can disrupt ecosystems. Natural events cause changes in ecosystems. Events such as are called natural hazards. These changes can happen suddenly. A natural hazard is a natural event that causes negative change to a habitat or ecosystem. It could be wildfires, or earthquakes, or hurricanes. Natural hazards can destroy trees and other plants. They can wash away sand, soil, and rock. Natural hazards can force animals out of their nests, dens, and burrows. Many times animals are forced to find a new place to live. These changes are natural events that can result in new ecosystems. Here the plants and animals in a beach ecosystem are affected by a hurricane. Living things can have a hard time finding food and water after a natural hazard. Plants that some animals eat may have washed away. Small prey may have disappeared. Sometimes animals are injured during a natural disaster. They may not be able to hunt. Water may be unsafe to drink. The picture shows a forest habitat after a fire. Some living things have adaptations that help them survive forest fires. Many plants that burn may take a long time to grow back. Animals that live in trees in the forest have to move. Animals that eat the plants may have to find other food. It can take many years for trees to grow back after a forest fire. But mosses, grasses, and other small plants may start growing on the bare ground quickly. How do these changes affect the animals that live in the forest before the fire? Invasive species can disrupt ecosystems. When I think of that, I think of the Asian carp that are in the Great Lakes in Mississippi. Sometimes organisms come to new habitats from other places. An invasive species is a type of organism that causes harm in a place where it does not normally live. Invasive species can cause changes in the habitat and ecosystem. These living things may grow and reproduce at a fast rate. Many do not have predators. They can be very hard to remove from a habitat. Invasive species cause many problems. They take food and water from native plants and animals. Invasive insects may kill native trees and plants. Invasive plants can take up space that other plants need to grow. They can make it hard for sunlight to reach other plants as well. Word to know. A native plant or animal is one that is found naturally in its habitat. Invasive species are not native to the area. They arrive in a habitat mainly because of human activity. So if you were to put DiMaggio, a bearded dragon, in the desert in Arizona, it would be an invasive species if it eats other animals there, and it wasn't meant to be there. One invasive species is the lionfish. Lionfish are native to the southern Pacific Ocean and Indian Ocean. Now they are found in the Atlantic Ocean too. Lionfish have a big appetite. Oof. Cool creatures though. They eat more than 40 different kinds of fish and other small ocean animals. How does this affect the ocean ecosystem? Invasive lionfish eat so much that there's not enough food for the native ocean animals. They also eat parrotfish, which are helpful to the coral reef ecosystem. Parrotfish eat organisms that can harm coral reefs. When lionfish eat the parrotfish, it's 3:30, the normal time you would be leaving, the reef ecosystem may be harmed. Overpopulation can disrupt ecosystems. Sometimes too many organisms in one ecosystem can cause the entire ecosystem to change. This is called overpopulation. When there are too many of a certain type of animal, the animals might consume all the food in their habitat. Then some of the population can starve. A red tide is another example of overpopulation. In saltwater habitats, the algae sometimes reproduce too quickly. The algae turns the water red, orange, or pink. Oxygen can become scarce in the water. Fish can die when they eat algae. Birds that eat the fish can become sick and die, too, and the entire coastal ecosystem is affected. Wow. It says, overpopulation of certain algae causes red tides. This can kill fish and other animals. That is all for chapter 4.